Today is the 19th annual conference, ESSCA conference, and we're so glad that we have her here, and we really appreciate your hard work. And we're gonna dive into questions, and please feel free if you want to add some more into it. That would be really awesome. So my first question to you, how are you first?
I'm doing well, and I'm very happy to be in Texas for this 19th ESSCA-USA Annual Conference. And I'm very happy that many people actually attended this conference. And in particular, our young people who are the next generation for ESSCA-USA, they are going to take the leadership from us. So we have to train them from now so that when that time comes, they are ready to take over the organization.
So for the people who don't know what is ESSCA, can you explain that a little bit? What is ESSCA and what does ESSCA mean to you personally?
Yeah, ESSCA actually stands for Equatorian South Sudanese Community Association in the United States of America. And it actually started long time ago before even I came to this country. Like in 2000, some Equatorians in the Midwest states of the United States actually came up with the idea of how they could create an organization that actually represent and cater for the needs of the Equatorian people. And that's how ESSCA came into being. And the first, the name actually was called Equatorian Family, and then later they changed it to Equatorian Sudanese Community Association when Sudan was one. And then after the referendum and the independence of South Sudan, the name was changed from Equatorial Sudanese Community Association to Equatorian South Sudanese Association in the United States. And since then, we have been called like that after the independence of South Sudan. And the reason that ESSCA was created actually was to bring our people together, because our unity is very important, especially living outside South Sudan. And that's why that idea of bringing our people together so that they can promote our cultural activities as well as inculcate the South Sudanese cultures, and in particular the Equatorian cultures, to our younger generation who are brought here younger or who are born in this country, so that they understand the culture and the traditions of our country.
Okay. So in ESSCA, do they usually dance they do the traditional dance as well, or it just is all about setting agenda?
Yeah, we always do both, because we have several objectives. And in our annual conferences, always we have like sessions. For this year conference, for example, the theme of the conference is moving forward together, the role of elders and youth in our community. And we want to bridge the gap between the older generation and the younger generation, particularly because the younger generation, some of them grew up in America and they are influenced by the American cultures. So some of us who came here older, sometimes we don't understand this situation. So we have to bridge that gap between our younger generation and the older generation. So in this context, we always have like sessions where we have like presenters who come and present about issues related to the theme of the conference. And also we have discussion group where we form people who come together, like men's workshops and women's workshop and youth workshop, so that they discuss issues that affect them in particular. And then after these workshops, then people come together and then tally all the views that were expressed in these different workshops together, and then we come up with the resolution. We always include the cultural performance component to it, so that our children actually know about our cultures, how our people dance, what kind of music they use. And that's when we have the cultural performance on the second day of the conference. Our conference always takes 2 days. And the people who founded ESSCA actually decided that we're going to meet every at the weekend of the Labor Day in the United States. And it's always either at the end of August and the first day of September. And that's why today is the last day of our conference. So after our deliberations today, then we're going to have a cultural performance in the evening.
All right, thank you, thank you. And also, a question to you, Jane, that did they always host it in one state, or how that actually, or y'all choose different state? And also, if y'all choose different state, how did that actually come to where y'all can take that to a different state? Like, there is an election, or there is a vote, or it's just set up in one state?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And some people sometimes they don't understand that. But since this organization was founded, the founders actually decided that there's going to be election every 2 years. And that election, actually, they have to elect the president and the chairman of the board of the organization. And this year we're going to have an election. The choice of the states, actually, we don't hold these conferences in one state. We always go from one state to another. And how we do that is that states that want to host the Equatorian conference, the ESSCA conference, they have to apply to the main office. And they have to show that actually they have an organized office in their states, and they have members who can help in the planning of the conference, and then they are awarded that status of hosting the state for the next year conference. And that's how it had been done since ESSCA was created, and it continues today. In an event that the state doesn't have an organized ESSCA office, and there are people from that state, like the Texas state, for example, this year, who wants actually the conference to be brought to Texas, then the bylaws of the organization, actually they have a provision that the board of directors can create that interim body or ad hoc committee that can help the main office in planning the conference. And that's what happened this year. The board actually approved the ad hoc committee or the interim committee in Texas, and this interim committee actually played a great role in the organization of the conference. So I just want to make it clear to some people who are not sometimes clear about these conferences. The conferences is an ESSCA-USA conference. They organize that. The hosting state help the main office. And how we do that, we work in collaboration with the people who are in the state office to make sure that this conference becomes successful, and we move on to the next agenda.
All right. Thank you for clarifying that, make it as much as clear as possible. So, Jane, since you became a president of ESSCA, صعوبات الواجهة شنو؟ والحاجة اللي أنت جبت أفكار الجديدة اللي أنت جبته لإسكا عشان نغير فيجن لإسكا.
يا شكرا للسؤال ده. طبعا زي أي منظمة دائما في صعوبات وفي برضو إيجابيات في أي منظمة. فأنا وقت طلعت when I became president of ESSCA in 2017, I was elected in Georgia, in the state of Georgia. I came up with important strategic plans, and I had like 5 of them. I had one that I have to engage with the community, because they can أكتر مشكلة كان ناس بيقولوا عنه إنه الأوفيس الكبير ما بيتعامل كويس مع الناس في الستيتس. So that was one of my strategies. The second one was how can we help our people in the refugee camp. The third one was how can we put the history of our organization together. This organization has been here for almost 19 years today, and there's no single history that was written about the organization, how it was created, and how the leaders were functioning, and other programs that were implemented during that time. The other one has to do with data base, because we live in America, and actually we don't know how many Equatorians are actually in America, and that was one of my projects. The other one was newspaper, and the newsletter, we wanted to do it like a monthly newsletter, so that we write about the activities of the organization, so that we can enlighten the community. Lakin taban, to achieve these things, you need stronger states to help, like organized states to help you in this project. And one of the challenges actually that I experienced when I became president is the states offices. And most of the states actually, they don't have organized states, and those who have organized states, sometimes the people are not actually functioning well. But we try to improve that in my period, and we improve that through bi-monthly meetings that we organize with these state leaders, and also through sending information to them through the email and through the WhatsApp forums, so that we can reach out to the community. And those are some of the challenges. The other challenges also that face me is issue of finances. Like the organization only rely on membership fees, and we didn't write, like during my period I didn't write grants actually, because to write grants, at least if you're asking somebody to give you grants, at least you have to have something in your pocket, so that you present that this is what I have, and I want you to help me with this portion that I don't have. But sometimes if you don't have that, then you'll not be able to write the grant. One of the things that from the 5 programs that I have, I think partly I was able to achieve something in relation to engaging with the states, because I tried that, although there are some difficulties, but I was able to reach out to some members of the states. The other thing that I am proud to say today that I actually achieved in my last 2 years in office, is the history of ESSCA. We're able to write the history of ESSCA, and I had a committee that is dedicated actually to do that work, and we're able to have a complete history of ESSCA, and we're going to make a presentation today. One of our committee members actually is going to be presenting, and myself, about the outcome of that history project. So I can say proudly that actually one of my accomplishments in the last 2 years was the history that we were able to finalize, and we're going to present it today. The other one was changing the name of the organization from Equatorian Sudanese Community Association to Equatorian South Sudanese Community Association at the state in the state of Iowa, because ESSCA is registered in the state of Iowa in 2004. And I wish that I can continue with my work, because I love my community. I really love my community. I want to serve my community, although I have other responsibilities like my teaching responsibilities, but I always find time so that I can give back to my community, because without the community, I will not be here. The support that I got from my parents, for example, and from my other community members from Equatoria, for example, when I was growing up, those things actually built me to be who I am today. So because of that, and because of the knowledge that I have, I felt like I want to give back to my community. So despite the challenges, I'll try my best to find ways of how to address those challenges.
Well, thank you. And also, I really appreciate all your comment, all your thought about the vision that you have, and you want it to be implemented at least. But congratulations that you achieved one of them. That was really a good thing. Especially, I'm considering myself as a youth. I really don't know much about the history of ESSCA. Yes, I'm an Equatorian, but I don't know really much about it. But we really appreciate that you actually took that initiative. وانت كمان وديت لقدام حتى ما طلعت قدرت تكتب انت والتيم حقك تكتبوا history حق بتاع ESSCA. ان شاء الله كمان عيالنا ولا عيالنا يقروا حاجات دي ويتعلموا كمان، لانه في النهايه علينا ما حنكون هنا زمن طويل. So with that note, how many people do you have in your team?
Yeah, my team actually I have 2 people, and it doesn't mean that I don't want many people. When we started, actually we have to reach out. I have to reach out to many people who can actually help me in putting that the information together. So I reached out to so many people, and then many people actually did respond back to me. The only people who responded are the 2 people that I'm not going to mention their names here, but because we are going to talk about it during the conference later. So they actually became dedicated and were able to put that together. And putting that history together actually was not an easy thing, because when ESSCA was created, up to today, ESSCA doesn't have like a library or a space or a documentation center where all the ESSCA material actually are put in one place. Those materials actually were scattered with the previous members or the executive or the board members. So what actually I did at first, I wrote a message to all the former officers of ESSCA to give me the information. When I sent that information out, actually so many people responded, and they sent me all the information. And I'm going to mention the people actually who first responded. There's somebody called Seme Enosa. He was a former board of directors. He responded actually, and he asked his secretary to send the information to me, and they sent it to me. There's somebody called John Omunu. He was also in the office, and he was the secretary general. He sent me a lot of information. I reached out to General Martin Abusha, and he was able to send me a lot of information during his time because he was a former president of ESSCA. And the other information, actually, I have to reach out to other individuals, and that's how I got it. And we have also an online listserv, an email listserv called Equatorian 2000, and abbreviated E2K. So that forum actually was created like a long time ago, and I was able actually to collect some of the information from that forum, and that actually helped me. So we were able to put all this information together, and then we created several themes for each topic, and that's how we started the process of writing. And I'm very proud that we were able to do that.
All right, thank you. That was really good. And since we're right now speaking about the conference, and of course you're gonna surprise us, or you're gonna surprise the audience with the new the booklet or the documentation that your team has worked together. So since we're talking about this subject of the conference, this 2019 ESSCA annual conference, so far, how do you feel about it? Like, so far, of course, one day is already passed. What do you think about yesterday, and what do you think about today so far going?
Yeah, I'm happy. I know that we face a lot of challenges when we're organizing this conference, but I can say that I'm really very happy with the outcome of the conference on the first day, because we focus on the youth. This is the first time that, not only the first time, but I think this is the major conference that actually we involve the youth in. Like our keynote speakers, the keynote speaker for yesterday is a youth, and the one that's going to speak today also is a youth. We had like 2 panels of youth that focus on youth issues only, and that actually was the most successful panels that were discussed yesterday, and I'm happy about that. And I'm also happy about the first day because we have the South Sudan ambassador to the United States. He was here, and he was given a chance actually to address the audience, and he did that very well, and I'm happy that we are able to invite the ambassador. And it doesn't mean that this is our first time to invite our government officials. We have been inviting our government officials since 2004. Like the first conference, the 2004, the fourth ESSCA-USA Conference that was held in Iowa in 2004. That conference actually invited late Dr. John Gerang Demabir, the leader of the SPLM and SPLA, Dr. Riek Machar, General Thomas Cirillo, Luis Lobong, and Jadala, and other dignitaries of the SPLM, and they attended that conference. And actually, Dr. John Gerang actually addressed the audience during that time. And over the years, we were able also to invite different government representatives from South Sudan, either representing the embassy or representing the mission in the UN. They came and spoke at the conference. So our conferences are not always conferences that focus only on specific issues like social aspects or only the cultural performance. We also have educational sections that actually focus on educative issues like economy, like the challenges facing South Sudan, or the political situation that's going on in South Sudan, and other issues that are affecting our people here in the United States.
All right, thanks a lot. And believe me, ده بيكون آخر question بالنسبة لك. زي ما قلتي إنه في 2019 to involve a lot of youth عشان يكونوا يعرفوا ذاته الorganization اللي بيمشي كيف وعشان يكونوا they need to get involved in it. So سؤال حقي بيقول كده، انتوا من هنا لقدام هتخطوا يوث كتار في بروجرام ولا بس ده بيكون آخر مرة؟
لا ده ما هيكون آخر مرة because زي ما قلت في البداية قبل إنه المستقبل بتاع ESSCA are in the youth hands. So to build those youth, we can't just leave them out from engaging in the organization. We have to continue to engage them, and that's why when I took over office in 2017, I activated the Secretariat for Education and Social Affairs because it deals with families as well as children, and then the youth office. So these two offices, actually the youth office and then the education and social affairs offices, they work together to bring the youth actually to the organization. And that's why in last year in 2018, the two offices actually organized a student and youth conference in Lansing, Michigan in July 2019. And that's a beginning of bringing the youth actually to be involved in the association. And then this year, actually, the Secretary of Youth organized another conference for the youth in Des Moines, Iowa, July 4th to 6th. And that also brought several members of the youth community to come and attend and discuss issues related to the youth. And that's why, based on those two conferences, we said, okay, we have to build this conference this year around issues related to youth of our community. Besides that, last year and this year also we organized two women's conferences, and that was actually done jointly between the Secretariat for Women Affairs and then the Education and Social Affairs. Jointly they organized that conference. The first one was organized in Kansas City, Missouri in November 2018. And then the second one was organized in Jacksonville, Florida on March 30th, 2019. And the reason that we organize this conference is not only to talk about women. We have to talk also about issues related to family, because without the family, we're not going to have really a very successful and progressive youth. So we talk about the family issues to women, because women are the backbone also of families. And that was actually one of the ways in which we engage the youth, and we also engage the parents who are the backbone of this youth.
All right, I really appreciate that, Dr. Jen. Thank you for enlightening and put a spotlight on Equatoria. I personally really appreciate all your hard work, and I appreciate all your communication with the entire team, even if it's in the office of ESSCA or in the state of ESSCA. I really do appreciate that, honestly. Hopefully you can run again, and we hope you can finish your rest of your vision and accomplish everything that you hope to see accomplished. With that being said, thank you a lot. And if you have any comments you would like to just add to this interview, that would be helpful. Otherwise, I know you are a busy person. They're probably waiting for you as well. So.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. The only concluding remarks that I want to say is that ESSCA is for everybody. ESSCA is not for a specific group or a specific region of Equatoria. ESSCA represents all the Equatorians from different backgrounds, political affiliations, or whatever they come from. ESSCA is home to everybody who is from Equatoria. And I encourage all our Equatorian people actually to support ESSCA so that we can move our organization forward, so that people actually know us, who we are, what kind of people we are, and what cultures we present to our communities, because this is how we preserve our cultures. That's my last point. ESSCA is for every Equatorian. Thank you.
Thanks.